Welcome back, all listeners, to Beyond the Game. Mike and Joe, what do we have in store for us today?
Kicking it off with the San Diego Chargers. They're on fire right now. The Dallas Cowboys in a free fall. Who wins the AFC West? A breakdown of the Rams and and Saints game from yesterday, and the contender-pretender game. Going to go over to the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes in the MLB, and where does he end up? And then over to the NHL and the Ottawa Senators dropping 6 straight. Where has Matt Duchene been? Joey, what else do we have on the docket?
Well, let's not forget also Tony Parker. He has not played a single game for the San Antonio Spurs. He'll be returning tonight and making his season debut against the Mavericks. The Clippers are on a monstrous downward spiral. What happens to DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin? Do they start rebuilding? And this is college football championship week, ladies and gentlemen. How do Alabama and Miami losses shake up the playoff brackets and the matchups? And Chip Kelly was hired by UCLA, and how does that affect Josh Rosen and his draft status? Beyond the Game episode number 24 begins right now.
Take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. I say you look so fine that I really want to.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the new and revamped edition of Beyond the Game, episode 24, once broadcasted solely on the I-95 Sports Network. We are here live from St. John's University on WSJU. Mike and Joey, the main men, welcome back. And we also have our own Rodney Harris over the phone tuning in. You're listening to our weekly sportscast, which is every Monday from 11 to 1. Want to call in and join us? Call 718-990-3758. The show will be replayed tonight on the I-95 Sports Network from 5 to 7 p.m. on i95sportsnetwork.com. Log on to their website for more details. Be sure to follow Beyond the Game on Instagram and Twitter at Beyond the Game 4 and Facebook at Beyond the Game Radio. Jumping into our first segment, we have a little bit of NFL Week 12 recap. Guys, the Chargers have been on a tear recently, while the Dallas Cowboys have been dropping drastically. Mike, tell me a little bit about what the Cowboys and Chargers have been up to as of recent.
Oh, we could just start with the Cowboys quickly and say, haha, your team is nothing without Zeke. I mean, he lifted the team. He was snubbed last year of MVP. The only reason Dallas went 13-3 last year was because of Zeke. Even with this left tackle, Smith is back, and he's incredible. But Dak is not the same player when they don't have Zeke behind you. Defenses have to game plan for Ezekiel Elliott. So, for me, that's the main reason this team is terrible now. As for the Chargers, whoa, the West is wide open. I mean, at first the season starts, right? We see Kansas City shoot out to, what are they, 5-0 to start the season? Everyone was like, okay. The Denver Broncos, Trevor Siemian looked like a quarterback to start the year. Well, hello, they've fallen off the face of the earth. Kansas City can't seem to win the game. Alex Smith has lost his touch. And then you look at the Oakland Raiders. Yes, they won yesterday, but they are not the same team they were last year and not the team that people expected them to be. So the surging Chargers are now on pace to win the division. And from what I saw yesterday, they look like they have what it takes.
Well, first off, welcome back, Alec Norton. Your immune system is as low as the sewer system in New York City.
Still is.
Yeah, still is, exactly. Welcome. Good morning, Rodney. Good morning, Mike. Just want to bring in here and just say that the Los Angeles Chargers, I heard Mike say San Diego before.
Wow.
He's still...
Right. I'm in 2016.
It's okay, and that's fine, because really most of Los Angeles would rather the Rams anyway. The LA Chargers will be winning the AFC West. That's all I have to say there. The Chargers, their front seven is one of the best in the league. Their front four is, I think, it comes up with the Rams and also with the Eagles. And the Cowboys, they're done. It's done for them. And then they think that's basically all I got. Rodney Harris, what do you got for the LA Chargers?
Well, I don't want to jump to conclusions and say that they're going to win the AFC West just yet, but they are coming up the pipe pretty quickly. And if you take a look at the playoff picture right now, it does shake things up a bit, and they are making a lot of noise. to have the same exact record as the Bengals and possibly can have the same exact record as the Ravens by the end of the night. So if you look at this game, and you look at these games coming down the stretch for the Chargers, they need to win, string a lot more wins together and find themselves into a good position to make a push for the playoffs. And I say the team falling out of that picture could be Kansas City or Buffalo. Now it's time for San Diego. It's time for Los Angeles to take advantage of that and slide their way into the playoffs. But I definitely think if Phillip Rivers can show up every game for the rest of the season and they can get these wins, they can definitely find themselves looking at a wild card spot, and one of these teams like Kansas City or Buffalo sliding out.
Yeah, I think, Rod, you're right for sure. I don't believe that the Chiefs. I think that they obviously signed Darrelle Revis. I don't know how much work that's going to be to get him acclimated to that 3-4 system. Honestly, I don't see the Chiefs going in there. You know, they're going to be. Let's see. Let's look at their schedule now. Okay, the Jets, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Harris's Jets. They gave the Carolina Panthers one hell of a fight. The Chiefs, this is a trap game for them against the Jets. Let's look at the remaining schedule. Jets, Raiders, Chargers, Dolphins, Broncos. Yeah, the Chargers game is going to be difficult on that Saturday night, Week 15. Other than that, I think that they could win out, but then again, they lost to the Bills, and the Bills were 1-4 on the road.
Well, here the Chiefs' defense is not the same that it was in the beginning. Look, you lose guys like Eric Berry, eventually things are going to fall out of place. That's a guy that you want leading the team down the stretch, especially during some of these games. And
they won 5 straight without him, though.
That's okay with me. I mean, that was because no one could stop Hunt in the beginning of the season. Once they figured out Andy Reid, which happens every season, he gets out to a hot start. Once they figure out what he's doing, he's the easiest coach to stop. This team has done nothing. Look, you go back to their game, the Chargers, the Chiefs are terrible. I don't think they're going to come back, but that game in Week 15 is huge. In Arrowhead, though, so Kansas City does have the advantage. But if you do look at the Chargers' schedule, got an easy game against the Browns. They got a game that's at home.
That should be a lock.
Hopefully,
Redskins against the Chargers. Chargers at home for that. They should beat the Redskins. The way their defense is playing, the way Joey Bosa plays out there, I think Kirk Cousins is going to be running for his life on that Sunday. You look at they play the Raiders again, divisional game. The Raiders actually could be the game for the division in Week 17 between the Chargers and the Raiders.
Which is wild because they're 4-5, if I'm not mistaken, for the. No, I'm sorry, not 4-5. They are. Let's see, get the 5-6. Yeah, they're the same exact record.
5
the Chargers.
I mean, the best each of these teams could go would be 10-6 on the season.
And you know what? Potentially they could. They have 3 out of their last 5 games at home in Carson, California, against the Browns, the Skins, and the Raiders. Their 2 road games are really hard. And you know what? I'm going to put that Jets game as a hard one, because even though that the Jets lost yesterday, they played with heart, and they have played every single game with heart. Yeah, they are not going to back down, because they are so close, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but they're only a game and a half or a game out of the second wild card. It's wild.
The AFC is
literally
incredibly weak in comparison to the NFC. But at the same time, I mean, you're looking at these 5 and 6 teams that have a shot of making the playoffs. And look, I mean,
and the Jets are one of them.
And you got all these wild card teams. The only team in the East that's solidified itself as the winner again, the Patriots. So that they could get the second wild card team. The Jets could take the Bills out. The Bills defense. Who knows what's going on in Buffalo? Their coach is out of his mind, by the way. But we have to figure what's going on with them for now. But I think that opens the door up for the Jets. I think the wild card is open even for the Chargers or the Raiders down the stretch.
Chiefs, Broncos, Saints are at New Orleans for the Jets. They also take on the Chargers at home, and then they're at New England. realistically, they're not going to make it, but I'm just saying that it would be an amazing Cinderella story if they did make it. Do they have the potential? I think they do. They're only 2 games back. And then again, you're playing a really, really lowly Chiefs team right now, playing at the bottom of the pack. They're in Denver, and Denver is their record is worse.
Denver's atrocious.
Denver is just bad.
Denver's atrocious.
And you know what?
In that division, I mean, those teams, they look so promising to start the year. Everyone's like, all right, look at the AFC West. But no one thought the Chargers. They were like, the Raiders are going to be good. They're like, the Chiefs are going to be good. And then you thought that the Broncos were going to be good.
Well, Mike, you know, and something.
Now they're all middle of the pack teams. I wouldn't say any of them are good.
No,
I would say
absolutely.
They're all
and
decent teams.
And you know what? Also, and I think Rod can attest to this. With the Broncos being bad, they had, or I think that this defense has gone through a major transition after Wade Phillips left.
And losing Ward, one of their leaders, and
T.J. Ward, who is
huge.
now a backup, who is a player to barely even see the field in Tampa Bay. He's gone. Aqib Talib yesterday was thrown out. That's another disaster, which we'll speak about at some other point. That can't happen. That's just straight girl stuff. And then losing one of the best defensive coordinators of all time in Wade Phillips, who's now in L.A. in the NFC. And they're at 8-3 out there. So the Broncos are suffering at 3-8, and their defense is really suffering too. And the only one that shows up there is Von Miller. Then again, there are some injuries there, but not that many where we could say, okay, that is the problem. So
your pick for the West is the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to go with you. As of now, I think for sure my pick too. I mean, it would definitely be the Chargers to win based on schedule and based on play as of late. I mean, you go back to their game against the Eagles. I mean, they only lost by 2 points to the Eagles, and the Eagles have been putting on. I mean, the Eagles have scored 30-plus points in how many games this season? 5, 6, whatever. They held them to under 30 when they played the Chargers, so it's not like this team isn't proven to be good.
Yeah. Rod, your final thought on that?
Yeah, you guys hit the nail right on the head with the Chargers and the rest of the teams in the AFC. This AFC is a giant wild card. It really is. It's a toss-up. And any one of these teams can sneak ahead of any other team that's sitting in a wild card position right now. It's all about putting wins together. Who do you trust down the stretch? Who's starting for you? How does your defense show up? We talked about Denver. We talked about all these potential teams starting this season that was supposed to be really good. But they're not as good as we thought they were. And, of course, injuries play a test to that. Loss of coaches, loss of personnel. Those things play a huge part. And now it has made this AFC so interesting down the stretch because it's really anybody's ball game in the last 4 spots in the playoffs on the AFC side.
Hey, Rod, just a little bit hard to hear. Just going to clear up what you were saying. I mean, you were saying we were expecting these teams to
had a little phone trouble there, Rod. Yeah,
to be really good in the AFC West, and that's how the season started. And you're right, with injuries and the way the season has shaped out. I mean, this division is shaping up to be interesting, but not as nearly as good as what everyone was expecting.
So you guys are choosing the Chargers to win the AFC West. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, that's what I agree with Joey. I mean, how do you crown a winner when they're that close? But I think right now, the way the Chargers are playing.
I like the prediction. Moving over to the LA Rams and the New Orleans Saints. Guys, the LA Rams win yet another game and finally end the Saints' 8-game winning streak. How about this game, Mike?
What a game. First and foremost, I was so glad that they had this one on TV. Why it wasn't flexed to primetime, I don't know, although that game last night was pretty good in itself.
Oh, yeah.
But the LA Rams, after losing last week to the Vikings, everyone was wondering how are they going to come out and how are they going to play offensively. They look good. They look good. Not that I was expecting them to play poorly. We've already established that they're a contending team this year. They're good. The only thing they lack at this point is experience. What they were able to do, Todd Gurley was able to get himself going. Then you were able to see what they were able to do with Cooper Kupp, who had a big game without Robert Woods being there. Then you have Sammy Watkins, who played really well. He was open on a few deep passes that Goff actually missed him on a couple open ones. And then Watkins, tipping that ball in the fourth quarter, leading to that interception late in the game. I couldn't believe it. It was just such a wild game. I don't know what to make of it. I still think the Saints are a better team, and I think the Saints messed up the game by giving too many rushing attempts to Mark Ingram, who could not get himself going, when Alvin Kamara clearly established that his style of play was more effective against this Rams defense than running up the gut with Ingram when Aaron Donald is sitting right there. I think the Saints would have pulled this one out had they switched their game plan up and gone with Kamara more than they went with Ingram. But with that being said, what a game for Kamara in himself. He broke out this game. I would say this is his breakout game. 100 yards receiving, 87 yards rushing, a touchdown, both receiving and rushing. Both contending teams, both really good teams. I think they play 10 times, they'll probably split 5-5. That's how equal of an opponent each team is with one another.
Yeah, and to follow up with that, Mike, you had said that you believe that the Saints are still the better team, better than the Rams.
I do.
I do, and you know what? I do agree with you. But the one thing that killed the Saints yesterday was both their starting corners were out. Marshawn Lattimore out yesterday. Also Crowley out as well. Alex Okafor as well. He's out with a torn Achilles for the rest of the season. Those injuries played a monster role in that loss yesterday. You look what Todd Gurley did yesterday. 17 carries, 74 yards. He averaged 4.5 per carry. I believe that it would have been a little bit less, if you had all of the players in there for the Saints yesterday. Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions, 116 yards. He averaged 14.5 yards per reception. Mike, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Cooper Kupp and Sammy Watkins, none of this would have happened if those two guys were in there. I think that the lack of depth yesterday, Kenny Vaccaro has proved to us yesterday that he cannot do it all by himself. He is still young and inexperienced. They do not have that Malcolm Jenkins type player that they did back in 2014. 13, when they beat the Eagles in that wild card game and then obviously lost in Seattle. He was not on the team. He was actually on the Eagles during that playoff game. But again, they do not have that veteran presence in the secondary like how they should have. Marshawn Lattimore is a first round pick. From just this past April.
Von Bell,
yeah.
He's only 22, so he's young. I think that's the guy who they're expecting to step up and take over that secondary.
Yeah.
And he was a leader at Ohio State. He was a phenomenal player. I'll look for him to step up, but you're right. I think
that they're lacking that veteran presence in the backfield.
Not having Lattimore hurt them bad because Sammy Watkins, his numbers don't show it, but while watching that game, he was causing the defense a lot of problems. He would have had more receptions for close to 200 yards had Jared Goff hit him on a couple of those deep throws. Yeah. So, great trade, by the way, by the Rams to get him in the offseason. He's provided a spark for this offense. But then you do look at this Saints secondary, and Lattimore, what a season he's had for a rookie and, for a cornerback in general. So I'm pretty convinced that if they had him, they'd be able to slow down Watkins. That would have made a huge difference in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And again, I just think that if those two injuries in the secondary are long term, this Saints team is in trouble. I believe still that they will win the division, but you have Atlanta, and you have Carolina sneaking up, and they keep winning. They're not losing.
They're one game behind.
They're only one game behind. And if the Saints lose one game, you're gonna have a tiebreaker with all those three, and they could even be bumped out, potentially out of the playoff race. It's possible. I don't believe so because it looks and it seems as if that there will be two teams from the South coming out of that or going into that 1 and 2 wild card spot.
It could be three.
It could be.
It could be three teams in the South getting in. The way that they're playing right now, it very much could be 2 wild card teams from the South.
And also, do not count out Seattle. We will see what happens next Sunday night. It all depends. Rodney Harris, your thoughts on the Saints and the Rams?
Look, going into this game, I said that the Rams needed to win this game. It was almost a must-win for them, and that was for me personally because I said, you're going to be tested against the Vikings 1 week, and then right after that, you're going to be tested against that high-powered offense in New Orleans. So, if you could drop a game between the two, I'm okay with you dropping one game, but you cannot lose both these games.
Right.
So I'm extremely proud of the Rams for going out there and giving it their all. Yeah, was the game a little scratchy here and there? Yeah, it wasn't perfectly played, but they got the job done, and the W is on the board, and that's what matters. So they could not drop back-to-back games to two of the top teams in the NFC. That proved a lot to me yesterday that the Rams, still have that fight in them. They still have a little bit of a charge in them to go out there and compete. And they weren't discouraged due to the Vikings loss. And they went out there and they wore their hearts on the sleeve, played at home, and they put on a show. And that was what you wanted to see. But now you got to go into the rest of the season with that same mentality. Got to continue to win games. The NFC is just getting harder and harder as we go along. And if any one of these four teams, the Falcons, the Rams, the Panthers, or the Saints, continue to lose, when you have the Seahawks, the Lions coming up right behind everybody, it causes a lot of problems. So, and it's weird how all four of these teams somehow, some way, have to play each other at some point later in the season. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. But I am nervous for both the Saints and the Rams. They need to continue to win football games and have to win against teams that you know you can beat. You cannot stumble over a team. You can't take a loss right now. You have to continue to win. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how these matchups play about. But I'm having my eyes wide open on this NFC wildcard spots. These are up for grabs right now as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking actually, Mike and Rod and Alec, at the remaining opponents for the Rams. They now go to Arizona, who just upset and shocked the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we'll obviously get into the contender-pretender game in just a few moments. But the Cardinals, very, very surprising that they defeated Calais Campbell in his return to Arizona.
Gabbert getting back at his former team.
Yeah, huge. It's in
those games
my
are always
eyes,
fun.
Absolutely, yeah. And then they host the Eagles. I think that game, as Mike said earlier, should be flexed. That's just me. Then also they go to Seattle, and then they go to Tennessee. Those two games are winnable, very winnable, and I still think that the Rams are my NFC West winners. But again, Seattle is right behind them, and they're not stopping. They did not play a good game yesterday against San Francisco, but you're playing against San Francisco. They still got the win. If they didn't get the win, then all bets were completely off with them, and that would have probably shut down the entire season for them. But the Rams are really, really good in my opinion. They're just, again, a little bit inexperienced. And if the Rams get, let's say, the 2 seed or the 3 seed, not so much the 4 seed, this team is, I think, very dangerous in the 2 seed because when they play at home at the Coliseum.
And that place will be packed.
That
for the
place
playoffs.
will, and let's not forget, we were in that building, 90,000 seats.
That's amazing.
90,000 seats in such an old building in one of the most historical places in the entire country,
My
let
legs
alone
were
in the
killing me when
yes.
we walked up.
I
those
remember
steps.
that. I remember that. Yes, exactly.
I was looking for the elevator.
There was no elevator. There was
Can't
none.
even get up 4 flights to get to the studio. Here, I gotta take the elevator.
But
We
no,
hiked
but-
up that stadium.
Yeah, I remember
But a
that.
beautiful view from up top.
Beautiful, exactly. But the whole thing, going back to football, is that the Rams, I think, if they get the 2 seed, the Vikings, I believe, are in trouble when they go on the road if they have to play the Rams in Los Angeles.
Moving over to the contender and pretender game, I'm going to be listing
love
off
these.
a few
I love
NFL
this.
teams. Guys, you tell me if they're contender or pretenders later in the playoffs. I'm going to start out. Mike, guys, the Atlanta Falcons, contender or pretender?
I'm going to go with contender only with the wild card. I don't see them, if they stay on a roll,
They're a contender because they could make a push for the Super Bowl and the playoffs. So they're a contender.
A stat that I read this morning, last year.
The Super Bowl hangover is finally cured. Took that Excedrin a little longer than normal to kick in. Oh, they've won 3 in a row, Joey.
They have, but the whole thing is,
they were 500 before that.
That's great, but the whole thing is that last year at this time they were 6-4. Last year at this time, ending Week 12, they were 7-4. Look at the records now. I think that they are contenders. That's my answer. Alec Norton, you haven't spoken this entire time. What is this? Let's go. Let's.
Atlanta Falcons. I got to go contender.
Good.
I mean, coming off that huge Super Bowl loss, I don't think there's anything more. I don't think they have any higher expectations than to win that Super Bowl game, and I think that is their pursuit right now. And Julio Jones going off yesterday, 253 yards on 12 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I think this team is back. Ronnie, what about you?
I'll say Atlanta contender. I believe that Matt Ryan is starting to get things rolling out there. They're starting to click together. Julio Jones starting to shake off the rust a little bit. Things are starting to move, and things are starting to move in the right places at the right time late in the season for Atlanta. Definitely are contenders.
Another 7-4 team we're going to be talking about is the Jacksonville Jaguars, dropping a game against the Arizona Cardinals. Guys, is this Jaguars team a potential contender, or are they pretenders after all?
Pretenders. You don't lose to the Arizona Cardinals and call yourselves contenders. Wrong team. Blake Bortles is not the answer, and a quarterback change will be coming in the offseason. I think that there is a big case for Case Keenum to get a big payday after what he's done over the last 8 games, and I could see him going to Jacksonville. These guys are pretenders. They're the defense. They are 100% Super Bowl contenders, but that offense is still shaky, led by Blake Bortles.
281. That is the amount of yards a game that this Jacksonville defense allows. 100% contenders. I don't care that they lost yesterday. You lose to the quarterback that used to play for your team at that moment. I think it's like a divisional game. Anything can happen. People want the storyline. I'm not going to hold that against them. This Jacksonville defense is for real contenders, no doubt about it.
This team, 7-4. It's nice to see a little bit of change in their record, but I'm going pretender on them as well. Mm-hmm. Things haven't clicked in my head yet that this Jacksonville team is actually above 500 in this part of the season, but I just can't really see them going anywhere in the playoffs, if making the playoffs at all. Rod, what about you?
I would have to disagree with you and Joe, and I'll have to say contender. For the simple fact that, like Mike said, that defense is stout. With that run game and that defense, sometimes that's all you need to get by. And Blake Bortles is that quarterback who no one believes in. I don't trust Blake Bortles as far as anybody. I would pick my dog over Blake Bortles as a quarterback right now. But the whole point is that as long as he can manage the game and somewhat keep them on point, run the football, don't pass too much because you're a turnover machine. Just keep the defense off the field. Just keep them fresh. We can stop them from scoring. You control the clock. We'll win football games. I think that with that formula, Jacksonville has a chance to make the playoffs and make a push.
Another 7-4 team in the same division, the Tennessee Titans. Guys, is this a legitimate team or not?
I think that they can win the AFC South. That's just me. They're 7-4. They host the Texans. They go to Arizona. They go to 49ers. They play the Rams at home, and the Rams, we know, are vulnerable on the road, and then they host, to finish the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. That's where the Jaguars are going to go down. I got them as contenders to win the AFC South.
Pretenders. The first one I don't have faith in is the Tennessee Titans, and I'll tell you why. Number one, they can't get the rushing attack going. Either Derrick Henry has an okay game. DeMarco Murray, if he's not hurt or complaining about an injury, he's not running as well as he did last season. So that in itself is a problem. Their defense isn't that stout. The only thing they have is an offensive line. Mariota is going to get hurt in 2 weeks anyway. That's how the flow goes for his career, unfortunately. I just can't see them being a contender.
Tennessee Titans, Marcus Mariota, that's where it all starts, the quarterback. Being hurt, I think he's going to get hurt yet again. He has 9 touchdowns on the season, 12 interceptions, and I just really can't see this offense clicking. They played the Colts, won by 4. That was a huge game to win. If they ended up losing that, no doubt about it, I go Pretender, but I am still going Pretender on them. Rod, what about you?
I say Pretender, and I like the Tennessee Titans. I really do, and I like Marcus Mariota. I'm trying very, very hard to find a reason to sit here and say, can this team contend? And I can't find it. So when you look at Marcus Mariota and what this offense can do, I know that the wide receivers are very efficient, but that's based on what Marcus can do. Now, if Marcus is 100%, they have a chance. I just don't think Marcus is 100% right now. I think he's out there playing at 80, maybe 75, 80%, and he's telling everybody, yeah, I'm okay, but I have to push through because I need to lead this team. They're only going to go as far as Marcus Mariota takes them. Until they put some more pieces to the puzzle, like a solid run game, and get some chemistry going with this team, I will not see them making the playoffs. They will be one of those teams to fall out of the playoffs, like we said before, in the AFC.
Now, I'm going to take this one quickly, Rod. Alec Norton said that the Jaguars and the Titans are pretenders. Now, if that's the case, who do you have winning the AFC South? There's got to be one contender for you, and there is no way in heck that you're going to have the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts win at 4-6 and 3-8. So one of those two, my man, and I don't mean that. Listen, time out.
Let me say something.
I want to make sure that we've got our man here.
Let me say
back
something.
From sickness, he's not 100% rusty.
Let me say something.
Is it a I got you, Alec. I have your back.
No.
All
right. Let's hear it. Speak my mind, Mike.
I couldn't believe it. Okay, we're having a controversy with the contender-pretender game. I love you people.
Well,
anyway, look. So, are you a contender because you're contending for a Super Bowl, or you're a contender for the playoffs?
No.
Because that's the difference.
Because that is.
If you're contending. Because I'm playing contender game.
Well, obviously,
as if you could contend and you're good enough to
all right,
win.
Fine. That's just
a championship.
I think the Jaguars will be the AFC South champions, but I do not see them going anywhere in the playoffs. Not at all.
That's all I need. That's all I needed. That was all I needed. Yeah. Yes, and as I did say earlier about
it is funny. They're both pretenders.
Yes. No, that's fine.
It's weird.
They
the
are.
Colts and the Texans are terrible.
Well, no. Well, listen. I said, the reason why I brought that up was because I wanted to know just my personal self who's going to win the South. They're both not.
We need your prediction for when you're wrong. We could
exactly right. Face. Yeah, and we'll make sure. We'll make sure we look on Twitter for that. But the whole thing is that regardless of whatever happens with the Jaguars or the Titans, they either go to Pittsburgh or New England. They're not winning either way. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. Next one and last one.
Next and last, we have the second place team in the NFC West, a team that is very iffy, the Seattle Seahawks, who are sitting at 7-4 behind the LA Rams.
It all starts with next Sunday night against my Eagles. If they can find a way to beat the Eagles at home, they're back in it. If they lose, this team to me is out. No Cam Chancellor, no Richard Sherman. Their offensive line is brutal against one of the best, the best rushing attack in the league, the best front four in the league. Let's not forget, whenever Jim Schwartz does not have his first rotation out, he has the second rotation out, which is better than some teams' first rotation of defensive linemen. This team is going to go down on Sunday night, and that will make them pretenders. Mike?
Yeah, I think they're pretenders also. I mean, I like the Seahawks, and I said in the beginning of the year, they always get hot at the end of the year.
They do. But these injuries are hurting them.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Joey. The injuries are killing them. No Richard Sherman, no Cam Chancellor. There you go. That's your defense there as far as helping out. Because any team they're going to face in the playoffs is going to – that's another one. Any team they're going to face in the playoffs is going to try to torch them through the air. That's just how the NFL is now. They need that guy, Richard Sherman, out there more than anything, I think, to stop number one receivers. And that's what he does. I mean, he's a force game in and game out. Yes, occasionally someone's going to beat him, but nobody's perfect. And they're pretenders in my mind.
They're pretenders in my mind as well. I mean, they did change around the offensive flow that they were going with at the beginning of the season, but Like you guys been saying, these injuries are killing them. They win ugly. They need pass defense. They have no pass defense right now. But I'm going Pretenders. Rod, what about you?
Seattle's a sitting duck. They're Pretenders, and it all sits on those injuries, and those are key pieces to this defense that are lost. And they're right now just sitting in the pond waiting to be attacked. As we see Matt Ryan try to pick them apart last week. It's just that simple. Without those key pieces, they are not going to go as far as everyone thinks they are. And they're lucky enough to be 7-4 right now. So what's going to happen down the stretch? We will see. And you go walking into an Eagles team that's been rolling. I don't want to see how that game is going to play out because I just think the Eagles are red hot right now, just way too red hot, and you're walking in limping, you're weak on defense. This could turn out to be really bad for the Seahawks, and I'm definitely saying Pretenders at this point in the season.
Moving over to a quick break, call 718-990-3758 to call in to be on the game. When we get back, we'll be discussing about Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese Babe Ruth of the world. Where is he going to go in the MLB, and what team is going to pick him up? We'll be right back.
And you're listening to WSJU, St. John's University Radio Network.
Welcome back to Beyond the Game, episode number 24. A quick WSJU sports update. Here's Joey Jarzinka with the call.
Yeah, just want to mention to everybody that we do have a few updates here on Beyond the Game, WSJU sports update. The Texas Rangers have signed Doug Fister to a one-year deal. Not really big news there, but the bigger news coming out of Tampa Bay is that Alex Cobb, Jake Odorizzi, and Alex Colomé will all be traded from Pro Baseball Talk on NBC Sports. From their general manager, he will be, or all three of them will be on the trade block or most likely traded. Also, Tony Parker will be returning to game action tonight. Jake Arrieta drawing interest from 5 different teams, including the Twins, Brewers, Blue Jays, Rockies, and the Rangers. And also, the New York Mets are interested in re-signing Neil Walker. But we're going to get into the next subject in just a few moments. Alec Norton, take it back.
Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese Babe Ruth of the world, 23-year-old, supposedly coming to the MLB next season. Guys, if any team is going to pick up this superstar, who is it going to be?
I'm going out on a limb here. And the reason why is because something that I actually did not say in that update was that and I'm going to actually go back to it in just a moment, but the Minnesota Twins are apparently, quote-unquote, all in on Yu Darvish. And apparently they are also all in on Shohei Ohtani. They're going all Japanese. And if that's the case, they have the money. I believe that the Minnesota Twins will make a run, but I still think that my Yankees are going to sign him. Especially with that post bid. Oh my goodness. And we also do not know what position he's going to play either.
Well, that's another question I have for you guys. Joey, what position do you think he would play?
If he goes to the Twins, he'll be a pitcher. If he goes to the Yankees, he'll be an all-around player. He is a generational player. He's similar to, in pro football, he's similar to Luke Kuechly, who you don't see that often.
I mean, what they're talking
this guy's
about,
a freak.
I would put him in,
everywhere.
Top of the top, as far as talent goes. I mean, I'm looking at his stats because I was like, whatever, he really can't be that good. He is that good.
He's a freak.
I'm looking at what this guy does. I mean, pitching. Look, he went 10-4 last season with a 1.86 ERA while batting .300. Over 100 hits. What? I mean, 22 home runs. Okay, so this kid. Oh, by the way, my spot. He's going to the Yankees. I'll explain in 1 minute. I'm not happy about it, but that's where he'll end up. This kid is dynamite. Incredible. Now here's my philosophy.
And he's only 23.
Here's my philosophy. He apparently claims he doesn't want to go based off money. He's having each team send him a letter personally describing why they want him without money. He doesn't want money involved, he says. BS. There is no way at 23 years old this guy is not thinking about money.
Especially he's come to the United States to play.
From a personal experience as a 23-year-old myself, there is no shot. He doesn't care who's going to pay him, and the Yankees have money to pay him. On top of it, they have Tanaka, who can help him get in there. And then also, they're a young team with good talent. Aaron Judge is going to attract him there.
And Matsui, too, is also an ambassador for the Yankees as well.
Very true. And
I know Rod was going to say that, too.
So there is no doubt in my mind he's thinking, I'm going to get paid the most there. This is a young team that has a lot of talent, and it's New York. I'm going to make a name for myself in the greatest city in the world. There's no way he's not going to come to the Yankees unless some other... He'd have to get hit upside the head, I think, for him to not come to the Yankees. I mean, who would not want to go to the Yankees if you were offered a spot with the greatest franchise in sports, arguably?
Well, and also one more thing before Alec Norton sends in his opinion, which he hasn't done this entire show, but little rusty here. He's a little rusty after not being here for the last 3 weeks.
Do we just not care, or are we just not letting him get in? What is going on here?
I'm trying to get my entry point. I'm waiting for that.
I think it's a little bit of both. But to be completely honest with you guys, Byung-Ho Park, one of the top prospects for the Minnesota Twins, was released from jail, and now he is going to be deported back to Korea. That is a humongous loss for the Minnesota Twins because he was really good playing first base, and he's an idiot. Simply, he's an idiot for what he did. And you know what? I believe, and Rodney Harris, I think you probably back me up if you know me well enough, and I know you do. I believe that with this kid going back, he is the only Japanese player on that roster who would be able to recruit this man. And now with him gone off the team, I do not know of a single player on that roster, on the 40-man roster, that is good enough and also Japanese or Asian at all to recruit this man. I don't think so.
I think he wants someone who can speak the same language as him on
yes,
the team. Otherwise,
for sure.
you're just very uncomfortable no matter where you are.
Yep.
Rod?
That's why he will wind up with the New York Yankees. Hideki Matsui has so much pull as an ambassador, and what he has done with that organization since being named the ambassador of the Yankees, he has done celebrity signings. He has done Little League camps. He has done tremendous jobs with the affairs within the city, but now he has an opportunity to expand and get international affairs going for the New York Yankees, and pulling this kid in. This is a huge opportunity for Hideki Matsui to really go leaps and bounds and get this kid on the Yankees organization. I believe it's going to happen. Do I like it? Would I like it to happen? It doesn't really make a difference to me because I know this is what the Yankees do. This is what they do. They go out there, they get top-level talent by any means necessary. And it's a bidding war right now for this kid. He's amazing. He's spectacular. Why not bring him to the Big Apple? Why not let him shine on a bigger stage of them all? And I think Hideki Matsui is the key piece to get him to the Yankees.
What Shohei reminds me a lot about is Masahiro Tanaka and how he was viewed as this superstar over in Japan as well. And then the Yankees ended up spending $22 million on him, and I thought it was a fine purchase, a little too much money, but this past season in the playoffs, that really showed me why we spent that money on Tanaka. He really brought it in the playoffs, and I hope that the same thing basically happens for Shohei. They might sign a lot of money with him because they have the money, but he is just this huge name that you cannot miss out on, and it'd be a damn shame if you missed out on this, especially if you're the Yankees organization who has all this background.
Picture this. This kid comes up bad, right? Say he goes 3 for 4. Like, damn, we actually need somebody to pitch. The next day, he'd be like, hey, can you come out of the bullpen? Yeah, sure, no problem. Goes 5 innings out of the bullpen, strikes out 10. Like, can you imagine that? Like, that'd be crazy.
I don't want to imagine that.
That's
a
scary thought
right now, just because I want this kid.
Like, it's crazy to think that this kid probably could pitch a whole game one day, then play the field the next day, dominate on the field, then go back to the like. He's a maniac. I would love to see that. I think it'd be great for baseball.
But you don't think him in the NL would work? Batting every time he pitches, and then if he's not pitching, he's just playing.
That would be pretty cool to see.
Else.
I think that would be pretty awesome.
I mean, in that case, what NL team makes a run at him? Who could? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I can think of one.
Yep. I hope the Mets do, but I know that's not happening.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, I can only pray, but
listen,
I don't think that would ever
let me
happen.
tell you something. Let me tell you what the Mets' priority is.
Unless we write a damn good letter.
Yeah. Let me tell you what the Mets' priority is. You know what that is?
I'm pretty sure this kid also sent out a questionnaire to each team.
I believe he did.
What? That's
smart, man.
Smart, but what a recruiting I mean, he knows he's good.
He's really going out there.
He knows he's good.
Well, let me tell you something.
He's going to want money too.
He's going to want
money.
Well, and
he's going to want to win.
There are 2 places where I can think of where he's going. Yeah, well, it's New York and the other side of the country in Tinseltown. That's where I believe the NL team he is going. He will be going to the LA Dodgers if he does go to an NL team. The Dodgers, that's Hollywood. That is the spotlight. That is obviously it's not as big as the Yankees, but it's on the NL side of things. Really good. Exactly.
Team.
They were just in the World Series.
This is true.
And let's not forget the Dodgers are for real moving forward. I believe that just
imagine this kid and Kershaw pitch like one day, then the next.
Kershaw, let's not forget let's not forget the other guys that they have there as well.
Yeah, but I'm talking
Alex
about like.
Wood,
But this guy's got
Kenta
he had
Maeda.
under a 3 ERA in 3 consecutive seasons.
Absolutely surreal. And through 2017, where he played, he's 42-15 overall with an overall ERA of 2.52. He has 624 total strikeouts, 48 home runs, 296 hits, 166 RBIs, and his batting average is 286. You know what this guy reminds me of a lot of? Ichiro Suzuki. A hit machine, not a big home run hitter. And on top of it, this man can pitch too.
I mean, that raises a big question
This
for me.
is gold for the New York Yankees and for the LA Dodgers. This is gold, and this is going to be a bidding war.
And whoever lands him is going to be dancing down the street.
Oh my gosh,
God.
yeah.
I mean, for me, it all comes down to if he does fill all these positions, if he can stay healthy at the end of the day.
You could convince if you could
Because that is
There you
something
go.
I'm kind of scared about. What Rod was saying, if he hits one day, then, hey, we need you in the bullpen. Starts throwing, and he does all these positions on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
That's got to take some wear and tear on your body.
Well, and
Yeah, but also that wear and tear from what he played, the type of style that they play in Japan, it's very different. It's a lot. They go through a lot of work. They let you. They
train him like
let you
crazy.
go. Like they just let you shine and let you go. There's no stopping point in Japan. So they're like, "Oh, you want to pitch? Go ahead, go pitch."
No, it's
that's
true,
right,
true.
and that's exactly what I was going to say, Rod.
These kids will go out there for days just pitching, just to practice.
Yeah, it's very
How their
taxing on
arm
the
like
arms,
survives.
the body.
No.
And it's and I see exactly what Alec is typing in on his laptop right here, and that's actually what I was going to segue into, is that if you look at a few of the top guys that were recruited from all around Asia, from Japan, from South Korea, all these different guys, such as what's his face from you have Kenta Maeda, you also have Hiroki Kuroda, way back in the past. Tanaka, Ichiro, he was pretty good as far as injury goes because they did things a lot different way back in the day. And then you also look at Hideki Matsui. Matsui's knees were about to explode towards the end of his career. You also look at Tanaka. Tanaka, his numbers when he was the biggest prize when he came over in 2011, I believe. Let's not forget his arm. His UCL, he was supposed to have Tommy John surgery. Okay? And why? Because they pitch him to the point of no return. Yu Darvish, he had Tommy John surgery as well. Why? Because in Japan they pitch him to no return. This is a good signing, I believe, if the Yankees or the Dodgers are to get him, but it is a big question mark because of how these Japanese coaches and managers play these kids. And it's not good, and it takes a monstrous toll on your body. Overall, it takes a monstrous toll on your body, especially for a pitcher, when you're playing in major leagues and you're playing in America. They know when there's a 5-day resting period for starting pitchers and for bullpen guys. You could come out of the bullpen once every few days or every day if you pitch a certain amount of pitches. But this kid, I'm sure he's probably pitching, when he does pitch, 110, 120 every day, and that's going to be something big, especially. When you have a player like this he's 23 years old, luckily, but Tanaka, I believe when he came over, just by looking at his numbers, let me take a peek here in just a second. I believe, nope, hold on. And Mike, you can, here we go. Yeah,
Joey,
2013.
Yeah.
2013. I apologize. Yeah, 2013.
Was that long ago?
Yeah, it was 4 years ago already, and he made his MLB debut April 4th. Do you know that I was there when he made his debut? That's wild. I remember that. That's crazy.
Wait.
And
Really? It
I
was
was.
only two. It was that. Yo, time goes by so quickly.
yeah, it really does. It really
Wow.
does, and it's wild because
2013.
yeah, because and not to get off topic, but you look at these numbers here.
That's my bad.
Back-
I'm just baffled.
Back when he was playing with the Golden Eagles in the same exact league, 99.35, 2.30 ERA, 1,200 strikeouts. That's unheard of. And his UCL was about to tear off.
Yeah.
Now he's back. luckily. But you know what?
Well, with
there was that
modern
full
medicine,
season.
it's
Modern
really
medicine,
helped,
yes,
yeah.
luckily. But again, my whole point is, as we're about to finish this segment up, there's a big question mark with Otana. Rodney Harris, finish this off.
Yes, this is going to be very exciting to see where this young man goes. It does raise some concerns about how much was he being used in Japan. And whoever picks this man up, I hope you protect him. I hope you have his best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And let's not try to overuse this kid right away. Let's see how he fits in American ball first. We would hate to see this kid go down and balls of flame because everyone wants to just hop on the bandwagon and using this kid for everything under the sun. Even though it would be interesting to see and it will be entertaining, but don't use him as a circus act. Use him as a ball player. And go out there and try to win games with this young man on your roster. So don't take advantage of him. Please protect him. And I would love to see where he goes.
He's a human, not a toy. Got to remember that.
Moving over
That's
to
right.
the Ice Boys. The Ottawa Senators dropped 6 straight. Guys, where is Matt Duchene's presence right now? Joey.
Nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
Guess where it
looking.
is. Guess where it is. It's left back in Colorado with Joe Sakic. That's where it's left in.
Really? I don't even see it there. I can't find
No,
it.
the whole thing is, well, the
He
craziest.
hasn't done anything.
He hasn't. Well, you know what? The first point that he got was a goal against my Islanders, but we still came away with the win. Now, something that I want to mention here: if you look at Colorado's numbers, Colorado 11-9-2. Yeah, they lost. They lost yesterday to Rod's Calgary Flames. 2 days ago on Saturday night. But if you look in the standings, they are 24 points, and Ottawa is 22 points, 8-6. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They just lost the Islanders. Luckily, they have Montreal coming up, and that's where we're going to segue into that. But in just a moment. But I believe that that the trade for Matt Duchene hurt them. I believe that Kyle Turris heading out and going to Nashville has helped Nashville and has hurt Ottawa badly, and he has not missed a beat in Music City. He has not. Mike Slavitt, I want to hear what you got to say about this.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because I remembered at the trade, during the trade, we were both like, that's a good move for everybody. I mean, I know I said every team involved.
I said that too, yeah.
It ended up working out for them, and Duchene hasn't been anywhere to be found. And I don't know what is going on. I mean, I know sometimes adjusting takes a while, but how can you be so good in one spot and then leave and just can't? I mean, you're playing the same game. It's the same. So for me, I don't know what's going on with them. But the Senators were playing really well. They were, I think, 8-3 and something.
Yep.
Before dropping these 6 straight, which is pathetic. They were in, where'd they play? Stockholm,
Sweden, yeah.
They haven't been good since they went there. I don't know what happened on that trip, but something happened, and sometimes some little thing like that will take you out of your momentum, and they have to find what they have to do because they're falling out of place in the division. Rod.
Yeah, I remember during the trade, me and Joe said, Joe disagreed with me, and I said, I really like Matt Duchene, and I think Duchene's going to help. And Duchene has not helped. Joe, you were 100% right, and it was as of right now, it looks like it was a horrible trade, and you were exactly on the ball. And I said, you know what, give it time, and let's see how it works out for Ottawa. Ottawa right now, they don't look like they seem to have the chemistry that I thought they would have. Bringing in Duchene, I said Duchene's a good player. I'm just happy to see him go to a contender now. It just feels like Ottawa's not a contender. It feels like they're just floating in the middle of things. You're a point above Montreal, and we're going to get into Montreal probably a little bit later. But you don't want to find yourself in between that kind of area with those teams that's been really bad in that division. So right now they need to figure it out. Maybe some more moves need to be made. I don't know. But Ottawa, I really had high hopes for Ottawa moving up through the ranks, having a Matt Duchene. I still have hope out there saying that things will start to click, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to click. It takes time to build chemistry on the ice, and trust me, I know. When you watch Calgary do it for the past couple of years, trying to get Johnny Gaudreau, Sam Bennett, and all these guys to play together, and they're finally starting to click. It took 3 years. So I can only imagine how long it's going to take for Duchesne to get used to Ottawa.
And mind you, also, Duchesne has this year and next year left in the deal. Alec Norton.
I'm looking at the standings right now for this Atlantic Division, and they are terrible. Most of the teams are on losing streaks, so the Senators aren't out by any means. Still early in the season. So, Rod, I want to go back to you on this. If any moves need to be made, what are those moves for the Senators to climb up the rankings?
Oh man, I don't know. Can you use some help on the defensive side of the ice? It's very hard to tell right now. If you drop as many games as they dropped, where does it begin? Is it scoring? Is it defense? What do we need to help on? Because you made the moves to get more offensive firepower. I would say start defensive side of the ice next. See if you can get another enforcer onto that team. I feel like this team is missing that edge that they usually have. They don't have that edge anymore. And when you lose that edge, especially in hockey, it plays a huge part down the stretch, forcing you to go out there and play every single night. You lose those edgy guys that's willing to fight, willing to get out there on the ice and go to war with you. That there's no point of you stepping out on the ice. This is a grown man's game. And if you can't get out there and get grown men to come out there and play, you're going to get yourself hurt. And right now, they're in a downward spiral. They need more enforcers on this team. They need to get some guts back on that defensive side of the ice.
Yeah, and you know who they're missing. Actually, they're missing Chris Neil, who Guy Boucher decided not to re-sign.
Totally forgot about that.
And Chris Neil, he is a lifelong Ottawa Senator. Goes back to the Daniel Alfredson days, and it really hurts with him. Let's not forget also when they defeated Mike and Alex Rangers. Thank the Lord. They had Chris Neil into the lineup there. When it mattered most. Looking at what also the expansion draft had to do with this, they lost Mark Mathot, who was the number 2 defenseman right alongside Erik Karlsson, and that really hurt as well. So now you had to pull up Cody Ceci, and you had to bring out a few other guys that from the AHL squad that were not 100% ready, and I think that Mark Mathot's presence in Dallas has been helping, and the loss of him in Ottawa, in Canada's nation's capital, it really is hurting, no doubt about it. Alec Norton, not good.
Not good at all. And still looking in the Atlantic Division, we're going to be talking about the Montreal Canadiens, who are 13 points behind first place Tampa Bay.
Yeah, really bad.
Montreal sitting at 9-12-3, and Tampa sitting at 16-5-2. Joey, does this Canadian team need to start selling?
Yeah, they do, and you know what? And tonight they go up against Columbus at home. Luckily against home, luckily at home, but it's not going to matter either way. They're going to get pummeled, and it's honestly sad to see that this franchise has just gone downhill really fast. It all starts with Carey Price too, because you know what, he has not been on the market. He can only do so much. He's really just a sitting duck, exactly the way Rod would say it. You look at this schedule here, and it's not easy. Columbus at home, Ottawa at home. Detroit, they're on the road, and Detroit's been streaking. Ottawa, they are in prime position to lose to Ottawa, I think, in my eyes. And then you look in December, and then you're going to see they have a home-and-home against Detroit, St. Louis, Calgary, Edmonton, and then the Devils. This team is going nowhere. They need to sell. This is a really, really bad situation for Mark Bergevin and Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, and it starts with their goal scoring. I mean, what's going on there is they're second to last with 56 goals in the NHL. Not good. You got to get them. They got to get themselves going offensively, and part of it has to do with their power play. They can't get their power play going either. They only 15% on the power play, third to last in the league, and their penalty kill has been pretty poor also. Only 75%. So that's bottom 5 in the league also. So special teams has to be better for the Canadians. 100% right, Joey. They have to start selling their players. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we talked about it a few weeks ago. It's time for Montreal to rebuild. And I hate the Canadians. I love that they're playing really bad. No Habs, no, I like to say.
It's about time.
But please, Start rebuilding. Start getting younger. Find new guys. Find better players. You're not scoring. Your only bright spot, like we mentioned, has really been Shea Weber. That's about it.
30th in the league in scoring goals, exactly what Mike said, and then also goals against per game too is top 5. Also, they're ranked 26th in the league in goals against, averaging 3.5 goals against and only putting in 2.5. And their PKs at 75%. Mike, you hit it right on the mark, and they are 27th in the league, bottom 5 at everything. Really bad position. Alec Norton.
Moving over to college football.
Ooh,
what a weekend we had.
Yes.
Guys, Chip Kelly just got hired as the new head coach for UCLA.
Ooh, I'm so sorry for UCLA. Go on.
What impact does this have on Josh Rosen, if he's going to stay or not?
Josh Rosen. Rod, you want to start? I'll let you start with this one. Take it away.
That's a tough question. Does he fit in the Chip Kelly system? That's the big question. I don't know if that big arm, that kid with the golden arm, fits in that system. I don't know what. Well, who knows what Chip Kelly's going to try to run? We never know with him. He's such a guy that we don't know what he's going to do. Maybe he might want to change up and probably change up his quarterback positioning and say, Lord, maybe I can run my system with a pocket passer. I don't know. But what I do know is that this kid has a golden arm, and I will hate to see this kid get thrown and get ripped to shreds and thrown to the side for a horrible style of offense that this man loves to run that works in college football because it's been proven to work, but it doesn't work on the NFL level. I just would love to see this kid continue to play more of a pro-style offense and get used to being a pocket passer. I really hope that Chip Kelly does not come in here and try to change this kid for what he is today.
Yeah. He will.
He won't be there. Sorry,
Josh Rosen will not be there.
Sorry
Go on.
to cut you off, Rod. Finish. What were you saying?
But my thing is that I was kind of leading up to that point when you guys were saying. But I said, well, this is definitely goodbye, moving on, sayonara, Chip Kelly, have fun at UCLA, and good luck. Yeah, that's all I can tell you.
I think the odds were that he was done after this season at UCLA. I think in his eyes, he's going to be a top pick. He's going to leave, go get the money. I think this Chip Kelly signing will solidify that. Now, let's not forget, Josh Rosen just got hurt in their last game.
Yeah.
He didn't finish the last game. So his career with UCLA is probably over. I doubt he plays another game with them because of what his draft stock is going to be at the end of the season once they get into
man. I watched this man get hit upside his head every chance they got over this whole season. This offensive line was putrid. They could not protect this kid for nothing in the world.
And that's what he needs. We mentioned that last week. He needs an offensive line because he still has a statue in that
poor
pocket.
Kid is getting smacked around. And he's still making throws. Like this, it's unbelievable to watch.
So there's no way he stays because Chip Kelly needs a mobile quarterback. I mean, Josh Rosen is way too slow to run that Chip Kelly offense, which you called horrible. I mean, then you kind of pulled back a little bit and said that it works in college. It's not a horrible system for college. I think also in the NFL it could work. I think Chip Kelly just did a really bad job scouting players, and Joey could tell you for a fact he went after the Oregon guys that he scouted out of high school more than finding other talent around the country that could have better fit his system.
Hell, he traded freaking LaShawn McCoy straight up for Kiko Alonso, one of his former linebackers in Oregon.
Like I'm saying,
that.
His system's good. I think the college football is where Chip Kelly needs to be.
Absolutely,
But no, the effect on Josh Rosen is none because he won't be there.
Right.
He has to leave at this point. Alec, what do you think?
I mean, bringing in Chip Kelly into this UCLA offense, they're obviously going to run a much quicker offense, as you were saying, Mike, but he's also going to pull out those weird play calls, and I don't see Rosen staying because of this reason. Mm-hmm. But one thing it does help with is recruiting, and I think a lot more high school players are going to be looking at UCLA and kind of pushing that up on where they want to go, and it also shows that this UCLA team is ready to win. I mean, if Josh Rosen does stay, it's kind of his first legitimate pocket passing quarterback he gets to work with. But then you kind of look at what
He'll ruin him.
Yeah, what playbook he uses, and then just it all goes to blech.
Yeah, it'll just go straight bupkis. Well, listen, let me just mention one thing to you. To me, and it stinks because Josh Rosen has had such a good year this year with UCLA, but there is a possibility that he could go number 1 to the Cleveland Browns. So, Josh Rosen, I'm gonna say this now. Your career, you could kiss it goodbye before it even started. And sayonara, I'll see you in the supermarket. Putting milk on the shelf.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to argue that.
Joe's giving him an ultimatum. UCLA and Chip Kelly or the Cleveland Browns.
Or Stop and Shop putting milk cartons on the shelves.
Like he could pull the Eli Manning and pull that like I don't want to be here face and get out of it. Or who did the same thing? John Elway was a big.
Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa.
Well, Joey Bosa was just annoying with his contract.
He was, and the Chargers were not going to have it. And they said, we're not trading you. We don't care. You could sit and mope all you want, but we're not trading you. You are ours.
Good. But
he has looked great.
So, I mean, I lost my train of thought. Someone take over. I really don't know. I forgot what I was going to say, Rod.
No, I'm just laughing at Joe just breaking it down. Either you stay with Jim Kelly or you join the Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the Cleveland
It's one way or
Browns.
another. What a snot.
But he could go to Cleveland. Josh Gordon is going to be back and better than ever. Mark my word. And then Corey Coleman, if he could stop breaking his hand, would be great. He's a good receiver.
Did you just bring up Josh Gordon? Mike,
listen. But then look. The two-headed Crowell, Duke Johnson. And then Kaiser's a joke. Get him out of there. But you throw Josh Rosen in there to Josh Gordon, and the Joshes are going to be working magic. He might be okay with going to Cleveland. If Josh Gordon can prove that he could come back, maybe he play. But then I don't think, because you gave that ultimatum, I really don't think he'd want to go play for Chip Kelly. I just don't think that would work. But would he transfer? Then he has to sit out a year. He's going to lose money. He's in a pretty rough spot.
Bad place right now.
You pointed out something really good. Whatever quarterback comes out is in a really tight spot.
Well, listen.
Who wants to go to Cleveland?
The one thing that I know for a fact that Josh Rosen is definitely thinking about right now, I'm going to say... it's
going to be a thing.
No, it's not going to be a thing. It's not going to be a thing. You know why? Because that front office is going to stay the same. That their head
coach. True. They got baseball personnel.
That's
in the
correct.
Front office.
Exactly. And you know what? And exactly what I said. Give them time. You were 100% right. They already had their time. They're done. They're going to stay. And Josh Rosen is going to be starting Week 1 next year with the Cleveland Browns, and his career is going to be over. That's that. I'm going to tell you that right now. Then. Or if you want, what could happen?
Well, what if they take Darnold? What if Darnold comes out?
Well, then
or Lamar Jackson's my favorite quarterback.
Well, then whatever quarterback goes to Cleveland, it's literally
I feel so bad.
And it's a headstone.
Josh
and it's
Gordon.
A headstone. Okay.
He's clean. He's clean.
That's good for him. It doesn't matter. But guess what? The front office is not clean because they all stink. They stink.
They have a 6'4", 220-pound machine
that means
at
nothing.
wide receiver.
That means
Get
nothing.
him a quarterback. And Corey Coleman.
But
the
coaching.
Receiver.
But this is the problem. The coaching is terrible, and the problem is that
Hugh Jackson.
They don't like anybody. They don't like anybody. They don't like anybody. They're all terrible. Rodney Harris, I'm throwing the paper up everywhere. My cue cards here, I'm throwing everywhere because you know what? No, the wide receivers have nothing to do with this. It's the coaching that's been terrible. The front office has been terrible.
No, but
the
Hugh will take his quarterback. Josh Rosen, and he will turn him into something.
No, that was the whole thing that they were supposed to do with Deshaun Kaiser and Cody Kessler.
But Kaiser's not Rosen.
No, he's not Rosen. But the problem is that
compare those quarterbacks.
That's fine.
I have Cleveland Browns winning 3 games next year. Boom.
Not even close. They're going to win none again. They're going to win none again. Listen.
They'll get one this season.
I have Josh Gordon getting suspended within the first week of next season.
No way.
For the same stuff.
He's clean.
Listen.
That's some story, but he's
back to reality. I want to say this in all seriousness, though. Does Josh Rosen, will it have an impact with Chip Kelly? I don't think so. He's going to be gone. But I know for a fact that if Josh Rosen does declare for the NFL draft and forego his senior year, I believe that what's going to happen is he's going to be praying to God the entire time, and he's going to be somebody that lives in church saying, please, God, I beg you, I beg some team in the NFL to trade up to the number 1 overall or to the 1, 2, or 3, even the Giants, even the Niners.
The Jets
something.
could do it.
The
The
Jets
love trading
give him
up.
something. I know for a fact
you could
Darnold and
trade up for
Rosen are
Mark
thinking
Sanchez.
that. Same
You
thing
could
goes
trade
up.
with Baker
Rosen.
Mayfield. They are crying, they are cringing, and it stinks because you know what? These guys that are coming out in the top 5 overall positions or overall rankings, it stinks for them. It stinks for them because they have a shot to go to the Browns and their career is going to be over before it even gets started. One thing I want to mention, breaking news, is that Tennessee Vols, they hired former Rutgers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Greg Schiano, and then they fired him before they even signed him. We'll get to that at some point later on in the show, but weird turn of events there in Tennessee where they hired Schiano and then they fired him because the students did not like him. Alec Norton, take us into the next topic.
Guys, how about Alabama and Miami both losing? Guys, Mike, I'm shooting this one over to you. How does this shake up the playoff brackets and matchups?
Well, I think this is actually really interesting because what are you going to do? You have the top team, which is, I think right now, and I think Rod would agree with me. I think Wisconsin, how are they not the top? They haven't lost.
Yeah.
This team is Rod. I just want to hear. You mentioned it a few weeks ago. They're a good team, right? You think they're number 1 in your book?
Wisconsin? Absolutely. They have to.
They've proven. So they'll be in there. I think Bama kissed their chances goodbye, even though it's only 1 loss. It was just so big, and with the momentum Auburn has right now, I don't know how. Okay, so the winner of the SEC is going to get in, right?
Yep.
Then you look at Wisconsin; they'll probably get in. You have Clemson.
Bama
Clemson's-
will not
who does-
be in the football playoff championship. Calling it
Clemson
right now.
plays
It's not
who?
happening.
Who does Clemson play this week? They have a big matchup.
I believe they
I'm
do,
blanking.
and I should know this, and I don't know this. This is
I'm
terrible.
blanking.
Yeah, this
Clemson-
is not good.
Oh, that's right. They play Miami. So
Oh, yeah.
this is huge. This is the true test to see what happens with Miami. I think Miami lost. If they could beat Clemson here, they're back in the playoffs. But I think the winner of that team makes it. The other team does not.
Oh, it's the ACC championship. What am
That's
I
what I'm
thinking?
saying.
My goodness,
So
yeah.
Then you got to look at.
No, Clemson's winning. Sorry.
I don't know. Miami's good. They have some pretty big wins under their belt. And does Bama make it? If Auburn beats Georgia, does Georgia fall out and then Bama gets in too?
What did I
What is
say
gonna
about
happen?
Georgia being a pretender? Here it is. Georgia
But-
is not making
but if
the playoff.
If they
done.
you think they're going to lose to Auburn this week?
Yes,
by the way,
I do.
we were-
Auburn looked
we were-
great.
we were-
War Eagle.
We were all incredibly wrong about Bama winning out this year. We all take responsibility for saying that they will go undefeated, but that was a wild 26-14 Auburn beat Bama this weekend, and we saw them shut down Jalen Hurts and that offense and not
that defense
let Bama
was-
do anything.
Jalen
Auburn
Hurts.
defense.
He
And I
really
don't-
was hurting. No pun intended.
I'm not a Gus fan. I don't think Gus Malzahn. I mean, he's a good head coach, but I don't think he's anything fantastic. But in big games in recent history, Auburn's taken Bama away, and that was a huge win for them. A team that's really gotten hot recently.
All right, I want to bring this next game up.
How about your thoughts? What
My thoughts?
Are you that rusty, Alec Norton?
I'm not
What's the
rusty at
deal?
all. It's just you guys pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I don't see Alabama
Okay, go on.
going in. And then also I think Clemson – I have Clemson almost smacking Miami in this ACC championship. I do not see the defense really stepping up against this Clemson team in this big of a
We'll see,
stage.
but I don't think so.
Mark my word, tweet that right now, Joey. I want to bring up a game, the Big 12 championship in Dallas. Oklahoma Sooners, TCU. I'm excited for this game. I think this game has so much potential. Rod, tell me who's going to win this game.
Oh man, this is going to be a really good game. It's going to go down to the wire. I don't see a blowout happening in this game. You're going to be entertained, but I believe Oklahoma will pull away. I think that Baker Mayfield put everything that has happened with Baker off to the side, and let's focus on what's being done on the football field. This team is rolling. They have been hanging in there tough. They are rallying behind Baker Mayfield. He has been just lighting it up. He wants to win. He wants to get in the playoff. He wants to prove to everybody, not only can I win the Heisman, I can make a chase for a national championship. Let it start in that Big 12 matchup. That's going to be a great game, and I hope I'm home to watch it. I really do. And I think TCU is going to have their hands full, but TCU's not an easy feat. They are a tough unit. They're a tough program. They're coached well, and they're one of the top teams. So you can't just sleep on them. You can't just turn the blind eye to them. Kenny Hill, their quarterback, has been very, very good for them this season. Darius Anderson, their running back, has been solid for them this season as well. So that offense has a lot of firepower behind them. They will give Oklahoma a run for their money, but I believe Oklahoma will prevail.
I'm taking TCU in this one for the yes.
No way.
For the reason that it is in Dallas. I think these TCU fans
home field advantage.
Exactly.
Okay.
Listen, the Big 12 suspended TCU starting safety Nick Orr for fighting.
The only way.
Ooh, keep
the
it
only
quiet.
No,
Baker
the only
Mayfield
way.
is gonna torch.
The only way
TCU.
TCU will win is if
Torch.
they shake Baker's hand.
He
If
won't
they
be in
shake
there- he won't be
Baker's
in there
hand,
for the first-
they will win this
first
game.
half of the game against Oklahoma. He won't be there for the first half.
Okay.
Baker's going to start out hot. There's going to be no slowing this team down. And Rod's right. Kenny Hill has been good. Kenny Hill's a good quarterback. We remember him at A&M for that one season after Johnny Football left. And he's been all right. But TCU is a team that I generally like, and I think they got snubbed a few years ago from making the playoffs. But I think Oklahoma is too good, or ranks third on TCU in tackles. He has 2 interceptions. He's one of their better players, and he's a senior, so he's one of the leaders on that defense. And I think not having him in the first half is going to be a huge blow. Oklahoma will win this game, no problem.
No problem. Can I
No
get a score
problem.
prediction?
You want a score prediction?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Is it a blowout or is it close?
Can you give me a few minutes?
All right, I'm shooting this one over to
gonna-
Joey then.
Give me a sec. Thoughts are brewing, you know.
Yeah, well, TCU. Yeah, I know. I know. That's honestly what I'm thinking. But Alec, I think you need to go to bed.
Nope.
I think you need to go to
Nope.
bed. I think that.
Nope.
I think I'm. I
Just
think-
remember
I think-
this.
Listen, I think I'm gonna have to call Alyssa, bring her in here, drag
Remember
you
this
out,
moment.
drag you out, and she's gonna ask me why, and I'm gonna say because you thought that TCU is gonna
Yes.
win. What is
Yes.
the matter with you? Stop it. Oklahoma
TCU
wins
will win. No.
27-10.
Wow.
Yeah, I called that.
Wow.
That's happening. I'm going to say that Baker Mayfield is going to torch. He is going to absolutely torch them. It's gonna be-
45-21.
No, that's
45?
That's too much.
I
That's
think
too much.
Oklahoma torches
Listen,
TCU.
That is-
listen. What we
Baker
saw. okay,
Mayfield.
Can I
Oh,
say
wait,
something
wait,
that
wait,
happened
wait.
yesterday? No. Something happened yesterday,
Baker
Mike.
Mayfield's not a captain in this game, correct? This
no.
is the game that
No,
they
no.
took him away
No,
from
that was
being
that was
captains,
senior
or
night.
that was
Senior night. Yes. So,
so he's back.
back.
He's back.
He's back. But one thing I want to
All
mention
right,
before
all
we
right.
throw it to Rod is that do you remember yesterday when and this is
I
sort
hope
of
I remember yesterday.
you do. This is
That
a
was
joke.
so recent.
This is a
My
joke
memory's
when
that
you
bad.
saw when the Eagles and the Bears played and the Bears punted.
Oh, the
and
Bears are horrible,
Not
too.
yes, but no. This is and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is when Kenyon Barner pulled Corey Graham away by his neck and just said, like he couldn't touch the ball. That's what I'm going to have Alex's girlfriend do to him because drag him out of the studio because he said TCU
will
is
win.
going to win.
TCU will
Alec
win.
Norton next, or actually, I'm
wait.
sorry, Rodney Harris. I apologize.
TCU, I don't see winning this game, but like I said, it's not going to be a blowout like you guys said. I really think this game's going to be really close.
That's why I said
I have
27-10
Oklahoma 28, TCU 24. I think this is going to be a
three-possession
barn burner. They're going to tear the house down. It's going to be a great game.
Baker Mayfield's gonna light it up. But look, I hold up, because this is what I want to say. I think because Alec is so certain TCU will win,
Yes.
and Joey, his head is going to explode. Make a friendly wager. If TCU does upset Oklahoma,
Are we
What-
gambling
which is gonna
on the
happen.
set?
what does Joe? What is
Time out.
What does Joey have to do?
Time out. We are not. This is a college.
because
This is
Joey-
a college radio
this is
station.
not gambling.
There
This
is
is a
no
friendly-
gambling
this is a-
allowed on college campuses.
I'm not talking about
okay?
money. I'm
the
saying
NCAA does not
I'm talking
condone
about
that.
what you're wearing to the next show.
Yeah, loser wears a dress. That's it.
Oh,
Timeout. I think that we will have to discuss this. I think that we will have to discuss this
This will
off
go up
the air.
This will go up on
and it'll
Twitter.
Go up on,
we'll let you
go
know
up on
what
Twitter. Yep.
this
and
game.
We'll figure it out.
No joke. The loser of this
like
game
it.
is going to have to do something, and we have it on camera. We're filming. So
We are filming. But the whole thing is timeout.
I'm gonna put that video
But
up.
I believe. But no, I don't know if it. But why me though? He chose TCU.
Yeah, because you looked at him and you said he was like out of his mind. So I was like, all right, we'll give him
And
the win.
you said that it would be a 3-possession game.
No, that's what you just said.
No.
Yeah.
You said
no,
you
you
said
that.
Mike. You
Yeah.
Rodney
because
Harris,
you,
help
because-
me here.
No,
please.
sorry.
Yeah, you said 40.
You
said
said
45-21.
Exactly. That's more.
20?
Let me finish talking, people. Joey said 27-10. He said that's relatively close. I said that's a 3-possession game. That's why I said that. What I said, 45 to 21 is not a 3-possession game. That's a 4 or 5 possession game. No, but your score was is a 3-possession game. 17 points is 3 possessions. So that's why I said that's not really a close score. That's why I said, why don't you make a bet?
No thanks, I'm good. Alec Norton next.
Hey,
next
you're
time.
missing out.
It's happening.
He's nervous.
The bet-
That's
no,
why.
it's happening.
Go on.
All right,
I'm
Georgia
ready for it.
against Auburn in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. Joey, who you taking?
Really, not much to discuss because we already
Yeah.
already discussed that. Georgia, like I said, pretender. Sorry, not happening. Mike, Nick Chubb, done. Auburn.
No.
this
Nick
is-
Chubb's going
this is-
to.
yeah,
Georgia's
sure.
going to win.
Yeah.
I think Georgia
Okay.
wins.
Auburn
I picked
wins
Georgia.
27-21. Rodney Harris, your thoughts on the SEC championship game in the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium?
Well, I have to say that Auburn definitely impressed me against Alabama, but Georgia's going to have to show everyone something, and they have to win this game in order to even scratch at even getting anywhere close to the college football playoff. So I would say Auburn is hot. Got to go with the hot team right now. Auburn's burning hot. They're feeling confident. Auburn wins. I think that's the type of game another game that can be really close. But I'm leaning more towards of a.
Well, look,
say
Georgia's
24-21 game, Auburn wins.
Georgia's one loss on the season is from Auburn.
They smacked them.
On the 11th, 40-17. Auburn won that game.
Oh, well,
But-
it won't be that drastic.
but I don't-
Trust me. They're going to get some payback on
But
Auburn.
Nick Chubb only averaged, and we could talk about Sonny Michael also, who's been a good running back there as well. With Chubb, they both only averaged 2.5 yards a carry. That will not happen in this game. I think Auburn will give up more yards to Nick Chubb this game. I think it's a much closer game, like you said. And I do think Georgia pulls away and wins because that's what I think. I don't have to say anything else.
That's what I think.
That's what I think.
I got Auburn in this game
21-17.
for the simple fact of, I mean, if you look at that box score of the 40-17 win over Georgia earlier in the season, but this Auburn defense, they have stepped up drastically, absolutely punishing this Alabama team last week, and there's no way I see Auburn falling anytime soon.
Yep.
Moving over, Wisconsin versus Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis. I'm taking Wisconsin, but this is their first real test. They have only played one ranked opponent, which was Northwestern, who is ranked 20th. I think this is going to be the closest game out of all the games we just brought up, but I'm taking these Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah.
No JT Barrett for Ohio State.
No.
Is he gonna play?
They said that he will be playing. He will be playing, and that's also another story that there was an issue with in the Big Ten. That there was an investigation out, according to Fox News, that there was potential intent. We don't know.
Really?
Either intent to hurt with the cameraman.
cameraman.
We don't know. We don't know. It could have been potential to hurt, and that would mean either a warrant out for arrest. We don't know. But the NCAA and Ohio State is investigating, and Ohio State, luckily, obviously, they got the win yesterday, 31-0 against Minnesota. Didn't really miss a beat. But if this injury does hurt or does last a long time for JT Barrett, I believe that they will be hurting against Wisconsin. I still believe that Wisconsin comes out on top 31-27.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what Wisconsin has done, they haven't lost. So you take a team that is used to winning and bring them to a team that has been inconsistent in recent weeks.
Yeah.
And you look like, if you're Ohio State, you got an issue here because, first of all, J.T. Barrett, I think he's going to be good, but he's incredibly inconsistent.
Yep.
You'll get, video game J.T. Barrett one week, and then the next week you get J.T. Barrett where it looks like he shouldn't have even gotten
The real him.
So who knows what's going to, happen, but I do think Wisconsin pulls that one and wins 35-28.
Rod, what about
Game
you?
of touchdowns.
Yeah, I have to say that Wisconsin rolls through. I love that freshman running back, Jonathan Taylor. 1,800 yards this season, 13 touchdowns on 258 carries. This kid is spectacular. He's going to be spectacular. Program. Wisconsin just this year, they're rolling. They're doing everything right. They haven't missed a beat, and I think they're not going to stop until they get to that national championship. So I have Wisconsin winning this game, and I have them winning big. I say 30-17.
30-17. Wow, I'm going to make my score prediction. I'm going 28-24. Make that a 4-point game. Guys, we're going to be shooting over to a quick break, but when we get back, we will be discussing about this St. John's men's basketball team coming home from Florida with a 2-1 record in the Advocare Invitational. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hey, I'm Alec Norton, host of Beyond the Game, and you're listening to WSJU, St. John's University Sports Radio.
I've got another confession to make. I'm your fool. Everyone's got their chains to break. Holding you. Were you born to resist or be abused? Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you? Is someone getting Were you born to resist or be abused? I swear I'll never be there. I refuse. Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you? Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you? Has someone taken your faith? It's real. The pain you feel, you trust, you must confess. Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you?
Welcome back to Beyond the Game, episode number 24, shooting over to St. John's men's basketball. Guys, this St. John's team is coming home with a 6-1 record, but that does not mean anything because Shamorie Ponds, with his worst offensive performance of his career against UCF, guys, is there a rumor of concern with Shamorie's performance?
No, he just got a Big East Weekly honor roll. No, he's fine. Looking back to what Chris Mullen said yesterday in the post-game press conference, that was the worst offensive performance. But believe it or not, guys, defense is there. Defense won them yesterday's game, and guess what? Chris Mullen also has told me in the past too, when I spoke with him, obviously off the air. This team can actually win games with defense. Last year, he said, it could not happen. 6-1. I think that this team is going to be pretty good down the road.
I think you saw in the Missouri game their real struggle, and that was with size. And I think when they're playing some of these teams later in the season,
Seton Hall for one,
Seton Hall especially, it's going to be interesting to see how they try to overcome that. And we've seen them get out rebound to these Division II teams. New Orleans, we saw them out rebound St. John's. So they have to figure that out. But as far as Ponds goes, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and 1.7 steals in the 3 games, and only fell 10 points short to Michael Beasley's individual scoring record at the Advocare Invitational tournament. So if he really just had a good game in that final game shooting, we'd be talking about one of the best performances at this Invitational ever. So for me, it's not an issue. And like you said, this team has really developed into a solid team defensively and offensively with a blend of bigger but shorter guys, like Marvin Clark, who's not the tallest, but he has a presence out there with his size.
Justin Simon, too.
Justin Simon, too.
5-star recruit from Arizona, yeah.
He's, I think, 6'6", 6'5",
6'5",
6'6",
yeah.
and as
Listed
a guard,
6'5",
and
yep. He's a stretch
agile,
guard, yeah.
moves the field, stretches the ball well. Yeah. I mean, he's just a solid player. So this team is good, but like I said, the big issue is going to be what happens when they play these taller teams, these more talented, recruited classes of the bigger schools. I
mean, it's not easy to over-rebound, these taller guys because maybe they can do it for most of the first half, but when time, goes on and it gets to the second half, we're getting towards the end of the game, it takes a lot of energy to go up and out-rebound a guy that's bigger than you, and that is one problem that I have with this St. John's team. They're good and all, but it's games down the stretch that they kind of start slacking in ways. That happened against Missouri. They're up by 8 at one point. Then they just got absolutely obliterated by the 3-ball. Back and forth. Points just started stacking. They end up losing by 8. And if we look at this game against UCF, we're not just talking about Shamori playing bad. We're talking about the whole team who shot terribly. I mean, Central Florida and St. John's both shot below 28%, but there was lockdown defense the entire game. And at the end of the day, that is what secured this win for St. John's. Rod, let me hear your opinion.
Their defense is what's going to make them. Defense is what's going to help them make noise in the Big East this season. So if they keep up that great defensive intensity, that's going to go a long way against these tough teams in the Big East. But you also have to complement that defense with some solid offense. I like when this team gets out on the break. They're very good in transition. And I believe that if they can get their defense to turn into offense, it will start in the transitional game. They have speed. They have the size to go. They have definitely have the size to get up and down the court. So they don't need to worry about the bigs because they run that small ball lineup like Chris Mullin likes to run. As far as Shamori Pons goes, I don't think Shamori is going to be a problem. Right, he had one bad game. It's okay. It's still early in the season. And number one, he still has a lot to learn. And, he's just coming off a great freshman year. You're going to have some stumbles. You're going to have some bad games. And not every game you play can be a great game. So for those out there saying that, oh, my goodness, this is something to worry about, is it really? Because there's going to be some more great games to come from Shamori Pons. There might be some more bad games to come from Shamori Pons. We will never know. But what we do know is that this team is 6-1 right now, and they have done a great job at trying to put it together. They ran into a really, really tough team in Missouri. They didn't play well down the stretch, like Alex said, and they ran out of gas. And Missouri just ran up and down the corner on them and just ran them off the gym after a while. It's just they couldn't keep up. So now they know conditioning is something that we need to work on. If we're going to run the small lineup, we got to be able to compete and run with them. So with that being said, let's get back to the drawing board. Defense has been tight that whole tournament. Let's now build off that defense, get out in transition, and let's use that to our advantage.
And they also have Sacred Heart on Saturday, too, at 6-1. They won yesterday 46-43, which was really great. Shamori Pons shot 1 for 11 from the field. Marcus Levette 5 for 20 from the field. Brutal numbers. But, again, defense did win it for St. John's yesterday. And 6-1. Rod, do you think that they could be in the national conversation?
I believe so. I believe that they need to get the Big East wins are going to be really, 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 really important in order for those conversations to start. But I think that this team still needs a couple of looks. Can we start to shine some light on the St. John's team? Give them some love, man. They've been playing very, very hard outside this conference, and let's see going into the Big East games how it all plays out. I want to see what they can do up against that tough competition, and we all know winning cures everything, and if you want you want eyes on you nationally, you have to win in your conference. So let's see where it goes from there. Right now, they're off to a great start, in my opinion, and they are in a step in the right direction on where they want to be and what their identity is. Small defensive team who loves to run. That's a perfect identity for you guys. Run with that identity and use it against these other teams coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with how they've started this season. I think we were expecting a lot of good things from the team, and minus that performance against UCF where offensively they look bad, I think they've been able to get their offense going the way they kind of want to. Scoring off in the transition, they're very good in the transition offense. They got Pons and Levette playing at a high level again like they did in their freshman season. And like we mentioned, Simon and Clark complementing really well. And defensively, Tariq Owens has been playing as well as you'd expect him to be playing.
Exceptional ball, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you were expecting out of him. So I think there is definitely room for them in the national conversation, but not yet. I think they still have to prove themselves, and I think they're still a few pieces away from being a big-time contending school. But I think from what we've seen this season, from what we've seen progressively happening since Mullin has taken over, they're not far away from being a really good program. And the Big East is on the rise. I think these are big schools, good basketball programs, a lot of history. It might start attracting some of that talent again that it used to.
Yeah, and something, Mike, that I want to bring in, because I know we only have 10 minutes left and we still have 2 more segments in, and Alex still got to say his, is that Kasum Yakwe finally made his presence. And you know what? 2 days ago, against Missouri, 8 points, 5 boards, he had his best offensive game, his best all-around game, I think, and most people think also, since probably his freshman year. I don't know if he's back per se. I believe that he is, he was a little rusty, obviously, coming out. But I believe that in all seriousness, I think that we're going to see a little bit more of Kasum Yakwe moving forward, moving down the stretch. And at 6-1, I think that, him getting hot, this is the perfect time for him to get hot. Alec Norton.
I mean, 6-1 is awfully great for these guys, but I don't see them being ranked in the top 25 once this year. But I do see kind of tournament potential, whether that's NIT or the NCAA tournament in the pool of 64. I think they have a postseason ahead of them. It just all comes down to which tournament that's going to be. Moving over to NBA basketball, what are we going to expect from Tony Parker as he makes his season debut versus the Dallas Mavericks? Rodney, let me shoot this one over to you.
What I expect from Tony Parker, not much. I just expect him to be a leader. Expect him to lead that young core that they're starting to form in San Antonio, and I'm expecting him to really, really take control like he always does in leading this team, helping Greg Popovich out, basically being the coach on the court that Greg Popovich is while he's the coach on the sideline. And that's all the expectations should be for Tony Parker. Don't expect him to come out here and score a lot of points and do the things that Tony Parker used to do. He's not the young Tony Parker that he once was, but he is still a great leader on the court. He's still a floor general, and I expect him to be the leader, take charge here, and really help this young core that you're forming, and lead them the way. Go out there and lead them the way, and chase after that NBA championship that you guys so desperately crave.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one. I think just come in and be a leader. We've seen what he was capable of doing when he was younger in his career, and he's still capable player of when they need him to step up, he could step up. But I think the team itself is going to need Kawhi Leonard back before anything big happens, any push happens for them to try to climb any higher in that tough conference they're in. But like you said, just come in if you're Tony Parker, do what you've been doing your whole career, and I think you're definitely going to help the team. There's no doubt about it. They're just not going to be what they want to be until they get Leonard back.
And I completely agree with you guys. I don't see really Tony Parker putting big numbers up, but just like Rodney and Mike, what you just said, he's going to distribute the ball, he's going to be the floor general, and he makes everyone around him better. He's not going to be a stat sheet stuffer by any means at this point in his career, but he will go out there and do his best to get his team the win.
There's the tandem of Parker and Patty Mills. This can only help the Spurs. They're 12-7 right now. They're 4-5 on the road, 8-2 at home. This team is just, they're ready. They're ready to exceed to the next level. Again, exactly what you said. He's not a stat stuffer, but his presence on the court, as Rodney said, the floor general is going to make this team a little bit better. Exactly what Mike said. Kawhi Leonard, without him, this team does not exceed to the next level, but Tony Parker, with him being there, it's only step one of obviously 2 steps. That second step will be Kawhi Leonard. So step 1, as of right now, complete if he plays well tonight against the lowly Dallas Mavericks. Alec.
How about the LA Clippers, who are in a downward spiral right now?
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Guys, what happens to DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin? Do they start rebuilding? Rod, to you again.
I don't know if you can start rebuilding around those two. I think it's time for one of them to go. And if it has to be Blake, it has to be Blake. If it has to be, it's most likely going to be DeAndre Jordan. But I can see them building around Blake Griffin because that's the type of team the Clippers are. But the whole key to this is it's not working right now. They've been trying to plug pieces in to this team for the last 4 or 5 years, taking pieces or former superstars that are over the hill or played with for Doc Rivers before or was coached by him a long time ago. They've been trying to do this for so many years now. It's run its course. And now you can clearly see the loss of Chris Paul really taking effect on his team. Patrick Beverley's in and out of the lineup with injuries left and right. They have really yet to find their identity of who they want to be. And Blake Griffin is the only one that's still out there, other than DeAndre Jordan, out there competing. So right now it's time for them to become sellers and start to break that team down and start to move some pieces around.
And let's also not forget, too, Rod, looking at the courtesy of Hoops Hype, powered by USA Today Sports, DeAndre Jordan's salary will balloon next year to $24 million, and it's a player option, so he could potentially he could opt out. He very well could, and he could be on the free agent market this season. This off season. I personally believe that if they try and trade him, it won't be for as much because of that player option. If they trade him to a, let's say, for instance, obviously would never happen, to a New Orleans type team, not a big market. He wants to be in that big market team, or on a big market team. They're not going to get a lot for him because they would need, or the other team, the opposing team, would need a guarantee for him to stay. That's just my opinion. So I'm with you, Rod. I believe that Blake Griffin would be the one to go if the Clippers, because I believe that they would get more of a return for him. Alec?
I feel like we've been pretty much talking about this topic for years now.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, if they should start rebuilding around these two players, but
No, they should not.
obviously that time has not come, and it's not going to come.
And this is not the Lakers either, where you build around big men. This is the other side of the locker room in the Staples Center. You do not build around big men normally in the NBA, but
especially nowadays.
Exactly right. And you know what, Rod? You hit the nail on the head a few times. You know, the Lakers build around big men, and most teams do not do that anymore. And the Clippers, they are in some serious trouble. They signed Danilo Gallinari, and what did we both say in the beginning of the season? Yeah, he wasn't lasting more than 2 months at a time. That's just what he does. He gets injured. He is known to get injured.
He takes up so much money.
He takes up insane amounts of money. Yeah.
Teams keep doing it to themselves
they
with this player. And, I mean, for me personally, I think if you're going to build around a big man, which I think the NBA is sort of shifting towards big men in the sense like you get an Anthony Davis or Porzingis, someone who could control the game as a big guy.
And look how well that's worked for New Orleans.
But I don't think Blake Griffin can be the guy as much as Anthony Davis, or I think Porzingis is better than Blake Griffin.
Or Boogie Cousins. You never know.
Cousins, I think Embiid too. I mean, it's these big men who are really talented. I don't think Blake Griffin has enough in him to be that guy. Do I think they get rid of him though? No. I think
Blake is not a franchise. He's not the franchise.
No,
he's a great asset to a franchise.
Yep.
He is not the franchise.
And that's what I was saying. I think like you're right. He needs to be there with someone else, but I don't think having DeAndre Jordan as the other guy is going to help. And I think, Austin Rivers is not as good of a point guard as they need there. Patrick Beverley is all right. I mean, they need to figure out what they're going to do there.
Shooting over to our Monday Night Football picks. It's a good old jolly day when Monday Night Football is on. Tonight we have the Houston Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens.
Ugh, poo.
That's what I'm saying.
Garbage.
I wish this game...
I think there's Dancing with the Stars on tonight on ABC.
Probably give that a go.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so... Oh, no, actually, no, the season's over. Oh, crap. Well, I guess it's going to have to be Monday Night Football then. All right, fine.
So, Joey, who are you taking?
Baltimore, 20... no, sorry, never mind. My goodness. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Joe Flacco, I used to love him. He is dumpster fire, similar to Tom Savage. That's the way it's going to be tonight. I don't know. I don't even know where to go with this. 21-12? I don't even know if there's going to be a touchdown for Houston.
Hey, dude, I'm with you. Hey, look, this is not the greatest game. Hey, if Deshaun Watson was in this game, it'd be a whole nother question. Baltimore defense is top 5 this year. Going to be really good. Going to nearly shut out, I think, Houston. I think they only get 6 points. 21-6, I'll go with.
21-6. Baltimore, got it.
Rodney, what about you?
I'm not picking Houston. Oh, they're trash.
I say 17-10 Baltimore.
Ooh. And Alec?
As far as I go.
I'm taking the Ravens in this one, 21-10. I think it's going to be
Pretty good.
boring game.
Pretty
yeah.
good.
And that will do it for us today on Beyond the Game, episode 24. Make sure to tune in on Mondays from 11 to 1 for more around the world sports talk. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Beyond the Game 4 and Facebook at Beyond the Game Radio for update on next week's show. Alongside Michael Slavitt, Joey Jarzinka, and our own Rodney Harris over the phone, I'm your host, Alec Norton. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.